Hello, everyone. My name is Nick Infernus, and welcome back to another comic book review. One that I'm sure is highly anticipated for a lot of people, because for once in MCU history since Endgame, we've got a unified consensus, folks. Everyone agrees that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is fantastic. Okay, well, not everyone. There are still some outliers calling it disappointing. But for the most part, it's generally agreed upon that this movie has a 96% audience score for very good reasons. What are those reasons? Is the question. Well, for one, there is no shortage of emotion in this movie. There's scenes that make people laugh, that can make people cry, that are actually very dark and can add a lot of tension. I remember, especially during the final battle, there was like a lot of tension for me because I kept thinking to myself, it's like, oh crap, this is where someone's gonna die. Oh no, someone's about to die. No, someone's gonna die here. Crap. It's that kind of intensity that I love seeing in movies because it keeps you on the edge of your seat, metaphorically, because realistically, if you're in the kind of movie theater I'm in, you've kicked your feet up, but it's like, but it has your attention, is what I'm trying to say. And this movie can also be pretty sad as well, in a good way, of course, especially when it flashes back to, Rocket to do Rocket's backstory with how he was created, what makes him who he is, how does he tick, how he got his rough edge, and even meeting the friends he had when he was under the supervision and experimentation of the High Evolutionary. At first glance, his friends are incredibly off putting, but the way they welcome Rocket into their little friend group, it's very touching and very heartwarming to see them, grow up and just be generally close friends. And it's even more heartbreaking when you see what happens to them, where you understand, why Rocket was so distraught during the blip because you realize he lost his friends twice. Rocket's not the only one who gets an arc, though. Every single one of our Guardians gets an arc, except for Groot, because he's Groot. Seriously, Peter gets an arc, Drax gets an arc, Nebula, Mantis, Kraglin, Gamora, Cosmo even gets one to an extent. And each of them are paid off incredibly well, and they all feel earned. And the the way each of them are paid off, it fits perfectly, and it's very satisfying. Of course, this is also a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, so of course there's some really good jokes in here. I won't go into all of them, but I imagine that that this will be making a lot of people laugh during their viewings. Now, last thing I'm going to bring up for the good things is that, God, man, I hate the High Evolutionary. Like you might be wondering, is like, wait, if you hate him, why is that a good thing? Well, let me explain. He is absolutely despicable. He does some absolutely monstrous and cruel things to Rocket, his friends, and his other experiments. He is an absolutely horrific person, a complete monster, and that's what makes him such a great villain. You hate him so much that you want to see him taken down. You want to see him defeated and destroyed. And if anything, his fate actually fits better than what was proposed by another one of the Guardians. You'll see what I mean when you actually watch the movie, but he gets a much more deserved fate than what was originally alluded to. Now, this movie still isn't entirely perfect. I do have one minor gripe with it, and that is in terms of Adam Warlock. Now, I will admit this isn't entirely a huge critique. But he was a bit underused. Like, he doesn't appear that much in the movie, and there's a pretty big gap where he's completely absent. But at the same time, I do feel like they do enough with the character to where I don't really mind it that much. It's like even he gets a character arc of all people. It's a very small one, and it doesn't take up that much of the movie, but it matters enough where I can definitely say that I like the character. Last thing I'll mention is that I will put up a bit of a content and trigger warning here. Given the general concept of the High Evolutionary's experiments and what he wants to do, there is a lot of animal cruelty and animal torture because he is experimenting on animals. I don't think that's very surprising because this movie is more about Rocket than anyone else in the Guardians. And he definitely had to come from somewhere. Like, you can't just, like, unless there's an alien race, you can't just have a raccoon just get up on two legs and start talking. Obviously, that has to come from somewhere, and it comes from the High Evolutionary, but he's not the only one to get this treatment. So, if you're an animal lover, if you love animals, you're an advocate for animals' rights, either wait until you can stream it or proceed with caution. That's probably my biggest recommendation here. Just proceed with caution if the idea of animal cruelty is a sensitive one for you. Me personally, it did make me uncomfortable, but it was kind of supposed to because it's all the more reason why people would want to see the High Evolutionary taken down. And let me tell you, it was definitely effective, as was this entire movie. I'm just going to come out and say it right now. Nothing will beat Captain America Civil War for me as far as the MCU goes. That's probably going to be my favorite for a long time, probably forever. Second place is still Admirable, which, if that didn't give it away, perfect 5 for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I absolutely love this movie. I'm sure you'll love it too. Just, be advised about the animal stuff. And, I really hope you guys enjoy it because it really is one of the best movies in the MCU and definitely what it needed right now. Anyways, guys, that's going to be my review for the highly anticipated Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. If you enjoyed, you know what to do. I'm not going to bore you with all the generic stuff. See you guys in the next video. Take care, and Godspeed.